And hello everybody, I'm Doug Proffitt from WHAS 11 News, and welcome to this special presentation from the WHAS 11 archives. The Hunter Rowland Report. Tonight, along with Joe Federle, we are going to celebrate the debut of the newscast at this TV station that took us through the busing riots in the early 70s, the desegregation of Jefferson County Public Schools, and the 1974 tornado. The Hunter Rowland Report. Why is this an important? I know why you like this the most, Joe. It's because of the catchy 1970s news music. How does it sound?
Well,
can you sing a few tunes?
It's very cool. It's got dun 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 dun. You'll see it. The 11 comes up. The graphics are really nice. It was September of 1974. It was all four of them. It was Ken Rowland, who longtime anchor, he just passed away in 2017, and Lee Hunter, they were the main anchors, and Linda Steele was the weather person.
I hear the footsteps of Linda Steele.
Yes, there she goes now.
Was that the flash behind me there? Was that right, Linda?
You know, that's true.
Game number 5 of the playoff series, if needed, will then be played as scheduled.
And Mike James was the sports guy.
Mike James did sports, and on the weekend edition, Monica Kaufman, who went on to Atlanta. She was a part of the News 11 Hunter Report. I watched this newscast growing up as a little boy. My parents would have it on at the house because we were WHAS 11 family. And when it came on, it caught your attention. You know who the voiceover announcer is who says the Hunter Rowland Report? It's Jim Walton, who was the longtime WHAS Crusade for Children host. And of course, everybody here at the station had a role. He did voiceover announcers, and they did the news.
And Ken Rowland, not just him and Lee Hunter, but on the weekends it was Byron Crawford.
It all began 29 years ago. I was born in a small town in central Kentucky.
One of my favorite parts is when he did a piece where he was teaching Monica how to skip a rock. And they did it right here in this studio. It was hilarious. They had chemistry with everybody, it seems like.
So Joe and I are going to talk about this right after this, but first, take a look from 50 years ago, the debut here on WHAS 11 of the Hunter Rowland Report.
We have a spirit.
Hello. Here are just a few of the stories that we'll have for you on this Labor Day edition of News 11.
At Iroquois High School this year, the problem's not getting from class to class, it's getting from building to building.
You'll be on the road with me tonight in Nelson County and meet one of Kentucky's true frontiersmen.
From News 11, the Hunter Rowland Report with Lee Hunter and Ken Rowland. Meteorologist Chuck Taylor with the weather and Kaywood Ledford with sports.
Good evening, everyone.
The problem is the two buildings that now make up Iroquois High School are separated by about 100 yards. The students we've talked with say the 7 minutes they're given to get from classes in one building to classes in the other just isn't enough.
And our on-the-road reporter, Byron Crawford, has discovered a man who is an expert in just about everything. And we've certainly got a man who's an expert on the weather. Chuck, we couldn't have ordered a more beautiful Labor Day.
Absolutely fantastic. And if you have to do any driving tonight, conditions will be excellent, and it looks like good weather at least into the first half of Wednesday, and I'll have details after this.
Chuck Taylor is a member of the American Meteorological Society and has been awarded its seal of approval.
Just about everybody has been enjoying this fantastic holiday weather. About the only people really complaining are the hay fever sufferers. The day's high temperature 77, the low this morning a chilly 54. Most of the country is enjoying pretty good weather on this Labor Day.
What better day than Labor Day for local unions to display their crafts and skills? This is the third annual old-fashioned Labor Day weekend. It's taking place on the Belvedere in Louisville. And you've still got about 3 hours if you want to wind up Labor Day in an appropriate fashion. An appropriate fashion for Labor Day for Paul and I, or me, which is it, is to work.
And the appropriate fashion for Lee and Kaywood is to have the day off.
That's right. How does that happen?
I have no idea. I want to thank Chuck for a beautiful day yesterday. Went to a hang gliding festival, and we're going to show you some of that in a few minutes, but just a gorgeous day. And it's great today, too, but I guess we're here, huh? Muhammad Ali's quaint relationship with the small town of Sholo, Arizona is coming to an end, for a while anyway. Promoters are making Ali come back to New York. Simon Davis reports.
It was a very unhappy Muhammad Ali who began his final workout in the tiny town of Sholo, Arizona. Pressure from Madison Square Garden promoters is moving the training camp to upstate New York. The promoters say ticket sales for the September 28 fight with Ken Norton have come to a standstill. Sholo, Arizona is too far from the metropolitan publicity machine. After slugging the heavy bag and a blurring display on the speed bag, Ali talked of his plans.
You're leaving here, Sholo, on Monday morning.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, yourself personally?
Well, I wish I could stay here because I'm resting, but the Madison Square Garden has agreed that when I get up there to the Concord, it's about 2 hours out of New York, big motel resort, they're going to give me the same protection I have here as far as keeping people off of me. No privacy. If it's not the same, I'll be back here in Sholo about Wednesday if New York is not like they promised it'll be.
Is it true that you've thought about building a permanent camp here up in the White Mountains?
Right here in this garage, this airport hangar. As long as it's not wintertime, but if it gets too cold, I'll have to head for Bermuda on Nassau, Jamaica, maybe Miami. But I would really, and if it's here in the country, I would like to be here if the weather's good.
Thank you, Paul. Clint Eastwood, the movie star, is also Clint Eastwood, the movie director. He performs both jobs in his new film, The Outlaw Josie Wales. And critic David Sheehan saw the picture and talked with Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood is back with what I imagine will be another big moneymaker.
Our resident expert on the unusual, Byron Crawford, is back off the beaten path again tonight, striking up a friendship with a man in Nelson County, Kentucky, a man who might have enjoyed life back in the days of Geronimo or Sitting Bull.
I'd heard a lot about Lucian Getty, and here I was now at Lucian's place. The front yard was untouched, left for nature to take its course. Lucian Getty wants it that way. Lucian's an expert with a bow and arrow. He makes them himself with his own precision instruments for balancing the arrow shafts. He's also an expert on Indian lore. Inside Lucian's home, it's dark. He's never really needed electricity, he says. Just a coal oil lamp or two will do. On the walls hang rawhide replicas of Indian war gear, handmade, hand-painted by Lucian Getty. The fine bows Lucian's made of Osage orange and red cedar would be coveted by any bow hunter. Beautiful handmade hunting knives hang on the walls. He spent months making them. Over the mantel there is Lucian's picture when he was in the state police back in the 30s. They called it the Highway Patrol in those days.
This is just a slow ballad. There's a golden land of dreams that all true lovers find at the end of the rainbow drive. But somehow it seems that I cannot find mine, though I saw it.
Lucian's one of those people who seemingly can do anything he sets his mind to. He's a big fan of Tarzan memorabilia and has cataloged Tarzan comics all the way back to the 20s. And outdoors, with gadgets like his quail call, he can amuse you for hours.
Well, this first call is just a rooster crowing, you might say. This when he whistles Bob White. But if you want to call one to you, you use this call.
Does it work?
Yeah, not every time, but they will come occasionally.
You've had them come.
Yeah.
Lucian, I've enjoyed myself thoroughly. You must be a tennis player.
No, that's my bumblebee bat.
A bumblebee bat?
Yeah.
You can actually knock them with that, huh?
It'll do it all right if you can hit them.
Was that what it was made for?
No.
Well, now I know what kind of games you play, Lucian. Bumblebees. Byron Crawford with Lucian Getty in Nelson County, Kentucky.
It, of course, will kill bats, too.
It'll kill bats, too. That's a bat racket.
That's where the word badminton came from, I suppose. Well, that's the news. We'll see you again tonight on this Labor Day weekend at 11 o'clock, and we invite you to stay tuned now for CBS News in New York and who's ever working on the holiday there. Probably Roger Mudd, unless Cronkite's back.
This is the CBS Evening News, with Bob Schieffer substituting for Walter Cronkite.
Good evening.
So from the archives, what's the date on this, Joe?
This is from Labor Day 1976. And you'll be able to see it. Didn't you like the review of the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid there at the end?
Well, so 1976 was when the Hunter Rowland Report was getting ready to sunset. And Ken Rowland left us. He went to WLKY. Lee Hunter left Louisville, and then we brought in Jim Mitchell, which would begin the amazing run of this station, which it switched to Action 11 after that.
He was here for 12 years, 76 to 88 is when Jim left. But for 2 years, it was a great report. Everybody, I mean, something that Good Morning Kentuckiana has in common with this, we don't just have a newscast of the time of day. This is the only two newscasts I know that has a name in this market. Good Morning Kentuckiana, the Hunter Rowland Report. And of course, this was probably based off of the famous NBC newscast every night, the Huntley Brinkley Report.
You were correct on that. You know, one other thing that they were able to do was from this very station is one of the legendary figures that was on this report too as well is Kaywood Ledford, our sports director at the time.
It's only raining outside. There haven't been many Mondays where Indiana, Louisville, and Kentucky could all look back at the same weekend and celebrate a football victory. Well, they can today. Indiana won its first of the season.
He had hired Mike James, so that's why you saw him on that clip.
I see. Yeah, well, I mean, Kaywood Ledford, he was off this particular night, but he was the regular sports guy, and I think Chuck Taylor was the one who eventually replaced Linda Steele. So it was a great cast. I mean, still beloved to this day. People remember those names.
Well, of course, Chuck Taylor, who many of you all remember, our beloved meteorologist who was here for many decades, he came after the 1974 tornado because before that, the TV stations were not using meteorologists. They were the radio hosts. Wayne Perky.
He did the noon show.
Milton Metz did the weather. They were radio hosts. Chuck was a scientist. He was the first one after the tornado. They said, we need some real scientists on the air.
Our first meteorologist.
That's right. Thank you, Joe. Joe Federley, our chief editor from the archives here at WHAS 11. For Joe, I'm Doug Proffitt. This has been a special presentation from the WHAS 11 archives. We hope you enjoyed it.